Everyone, welcome back to the Guided Programming Coaching Call. Coach Mike. First question up this week is about rest and recovery. So, reading the question for you guys is insomnia and trouble getting to sleep, like a deep, restful sleep, a sign of short term overreaching or worse yet, long term overtraining? I've developed horrid insomnia ever since I started guided programming about 2 weeks ago, only on the priority 1 and 2 workouts, and I'm 100% certain it's due to training stress. My sleep hygiene and schedule is on point. I take magnesium, melatonin. I've never had this problem before. I actually stopped taking afternoon caffeine. When I try to fall asleep, I seem to still be in that parasympathetic response mode that you talked about last week, and I can't seem to rest because I feel restless, anxious, and it feels like I'm overheating, especially in my legs. Looking back over previous training, it looks like squat and bench volume intensity are very similar, but my deadlift volume essentially doubled. Should I wait for a few weeks to see if I adapt, or should I reduce training volume like Caleb, the guy that we spoke about last week? Sorry for the long question. Well, I took a look at your track data as you requested. It does look like you are running a bit too hot. Now, whether or not that's like an overreaching thing or a more long-term thing, I don't know, and it doesn't necessarily matter. What we need is to reduce your overall training stress. So the way that you can tell this is if you look at your track data and your long-term fatigue levels are in the red, then you're definitely more fatigued than we want you to be. If you're in the orange, then you're really on the line, and that's really higher. We don't want you to stay in the orange for very long, but it's okay to go there occasionally. Where we really want you to be is kind of on that borderline between the green and the orange. That tells us that we've got your volume about right. Now, I'll put a caveat with that and say that the only way that that can be a reliable indicator is if you're taking your track test consistently, which the person asking this question is. So, that shows us that we've got more stress coming in than we can currently handle. So the only stress that I can really manage here is your training stress. With that said, I think we do need to handle this sooner rather than later. So I would like to see you do a deload week, meaning that this week I advise that you drop all of your assistance work and do no downsets on the supplemental work. So you're going to keep the contest lifts the same, but then for the assistance work, the heavier non-contest lifts, so things like pin squats, pause presses, you'll drop those entirely. Now, if it's a supplemental movement, meaning that it's not a competition movement and it's trained for generally higher reps and lower intensity, I want you to work up but don't do any downsets. So that'll be a significant reduction in overall workload for this week, but it will keep the competition lifts in there so that you can continue to maintain your skill, but it should allow you some extra space to recover. Now, what you should expect to see in your track scores over the next week, especially that long-term indicator, is that it will gradually start to decrease. It's not going to decrease rapidly, although you've probably only got about 2 weeks worth of track data in there to begin with. But you should start to see a reduction. You should start to feel better, and it should be noticeable to you. It might take another week of that before you get down into the green area on your long-term fatigue, in which case we can try to go back to normal training after that. If normal training starts to aggravate your long-term fatigue scores again and you start to go back up, let me know, because at that point it'll be a good indicator that we just need to switch your training group. So hopefully it gives you some ideas on how to proceed from here. It's basically going to be at least a 1 week deload, possibly a 2 week deload, and then sometime over the next month we should get a really clear indication on whether or not we need to move you to a different training group or not. Remember, this is not, some people take this as a failure, and I don't know you well enough to know how you're going to respond mentally to something like this. Some people take things like this as a failure. It's not. The training program has to be tailored to you. And if you just barely survive this, if we keep you in this training group and you manage, but your fatigue is always super high and you always feel like crap, that's not going to get you the results that you're after. It's not going to get you results as good as they otherwise could be. So it's not the overall training stress that we put into your system that matters. It's the training stress throughput. So we can only recover from what you can recover from. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to add a lot of additional stress if it's not going to spur positive adaptations. So that's my recommendation. Let me know how it goes for you, and we'll proceed from here.